Hello and welcome to Films Not For Sale TV show. Today we have a guest from New York, Karen Irikian, and she's a producer and a festival programmer. Could you just say a couple of words about your experience in movie industry?
Well, I think most of my experience is working in the film festival world. I was the co-director of a market, one of the European film market in Berlin, which is the second largest film market in the world. Market opposed to festival. A market is for the industry only. It's like a trade fair. So, and the festival is for the public, of course. I also was the director of the independent feature film market in New York City. And that was a support organization for American independent filmmakers. Currently, I'm on the selection committee for the Berlin Film Festival, the competition selection committee, and luckily I get to see a lot of films. And I also am the representative for the Berlin Film Festival in the US on the East Coast, and I am also programming and producing for BAFTA and other organizations.
And when you compare student films and independent films, is there a huge difference between them?
Well, it's
for you.
I have to come from my perspective with American independence, really. Mostly independent filmmakers have made student films or short films that were, if not student films, they've made their first films as short films in starting their career. I personally don't see a big distinction between student films and
professional, independent?
Independent films. Yes. Of course, some student films can be absolutely perfect, and some are rough.
Today we have a film which has been sent to our festival last year, film from Australia. And let's see what's the director of film talking and what she's saying about the film she made.
Okay.
The film name is Money Tree.
Money Tree.
Title of film, yes.
Okay. My name is Hawanatsu Rangura. I am the writer and director of Money Tree, which is a short animation made in 2011. Money Tree was inspired by a story my sister told me about a young boy who was tricked to plant a coin that will go into a money tree.
So what she said was that she got the idea to make it as an animated film because she actually could not go and make a live action film.
Now let's watch the film and then we'll come back and talk about that film.
Okay.
What's wrong?
My money is not here.
Oh, your money! I saw a bird stealing your money. I chased it, but it flew away.
Which direction?
So very simple animation, made with low budget, of course. What's your opinion about the film she made?
Well, I think it's a charming film. Very charming. And I was saying this before, but it's a short film. It's a 5-minute short. And from a non-commercial point of view, also from a festival programmer point of view, when you're making a short film, the shorter the better. If you can tell your story in a really compact way, it's fantastic. And just in general, films, short films that are longer than 20 minutes are difficult for programmers in festivals. And that's an important non-commercial platform for you.
Today we have a guest with us who came from Holland. And he's Mr. Peter van Bruin. Hello, Mr. van Bruin.
Hello.
And today we're gonna watch together a film from South Korea, and name is Last Word of Socrates. Let's watch that film and we'll talk about that independent movie next.
Okay.
제가 이 영화를 제작하게 된 것은 다른 성인의 유언과 달리 소크라테스의 유언은 사람들이 무슨 뜻인지 이해를 하지 못하고 마치 미스테리처럼 남아있다면서 저에게 그 뜻을 가르쳐달라는 어느 분의 질문으로부터 시작되었습니다. 그 질문을 받고 저는 소크라테스 유언의 뜻에 대해서 살펴보았습니다.
정상이고 세상. 그 유언은 무슨 내용이신가?
이 소크라테스가 죽기 직전에 아스클레피오스한테 닭 한 마리를 빚졌으니 대신 좀 갚아주게나 이런 유언을 남겼답니다.
아스클레피오스는 뭐하는 사람이야?
어서 독비를 가져오게. 간수.
Your opinion on a film which took many awards, as we see in the different festivals?
I'm a film journalist, and a film doesn't start with opinion. First, if you talk about a film, then you have to talk about what's the film about and how it's made.
Yes.
From there on, you can have opinion.
Yes.
So, and when they talk about his last words, I think it's not that interesting. But part of when they talk about coming up what is more relevant for talking about Socrates. The film is giving some message or a content that after the film you have to think about something. Then I think in general, the other thing, gnoticiality, and what is afterlife and what will be of you afterlife, after your death, is more important than the last words. So as film.
Let me introduce our guest today is Marco Müller.
I've been in the festival manufacturing business for over 35 years. I started in 1981 when I created the first large-scale film event in Torino, and then I moved on to become the head programmer and then the director of the Pesaro Film Festival, the director of Rotterdam Film Festival, Locarno Film Festival, Venice for 8 years, and then Rome now finally.
Usually those are beginners who are making non-commercial films, students and amateur filmmakers, and also professionals who makes films not for sale.
Last year, both in Rome and in Venice, the Golden Award went to a first feature, okay, by two young Italian directors. Both films were released theatrically, and they didn't do much business in terms of business, but they did create a lot of attention for the new faces, because this is what is happening in general. I mean, the most difficult, the obstacle, the biggest obstacle is to try and put the first and second films of new directors in circulation. So in that sense, we are trying to devise new forms of new alliances, let's say, so that we can join forces and make sure that non-commercial distributors, every time that we try to create a virtual theater so that people outside of Rome, people abroad, could see some of the films that we have selected, some of the very bold, cutting-edge, challenging films.
For that reason, we started that TV show. The name of that TV show is Films Not For Sale. So we are trying to present those works, which is not shown in cinemas, in movie theaters, to the general public in Armenia and in Los Angeles.
No, absolutely. And I think this is really essential, because then with your show and your presentation, you can definitely prove that there is a following for these kind of films. You know, I mean, that a lot of, and it's not just university students. I mean, a lot of people want to hear some fresh voices, want to hear these new voices talking in a different way about what is happening now in our world.
And the last question about your advice to the beginners, to the beginner directors, producers, cameramen. What you will recommend to them to do with their first film?
Well, what is really important there is not to try and put everything in the first film already, because I mean, the only shortcoming that I find very often in first films is that very often it's so difficult to start working on a first feature project that the artist, the young filmmaker would always feel, oh, I must not forget to add all these elements that I want to touch, that I want to deal with. And obviously, I mean, you have to be very selective, but I think now, I mean, we have so many major film schools where students have the possibility of working with some amazing tutors that will definitely, I mean, because again, what you were saying about non-commercial films, I mean, the films not for sale, you have to see this also in the context of who is mentoring you, who has been your tutor. If you go to, let's say, quite a few of the well-established film schools, of course they will try to train you to become part of the regular industry. But in a lot of film schools, you also have the possibility of getting an artist, a film artist, as a mentor and a tutor, and they would definitely, I mean, find a way to follow the first works of the new batch of students, so that they would know how to express a very original and individual voices without rushing and trying to say too much.
Thank you very much for your help and support.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Кстати, с вами мы сегодня собираемся посмотреть фильм, который нам послан из России. Послушаем сначала его комментарий к своему фильму.
Привет, меня зовут Хачик Василян. Я режиссер короткометражного фильма «Детство». В фильме затронута одна из наиболее волнующих и, к сожалению, прогрессирующих проблем современного общества – безразличие. Как-то мне попалась одна фраза: «В мире много страданий не из-за присутствия зла, а из-за безразличия добра».
Оля! Марш домой! Твой плачет!
Ну, фильм «Детство», по-моему, это вполне профессиональная работа, где,
студент.
Вот, да, ну, где студент доказывает, что он студент, что он чему-то научился. Вот.
はじめまして、私は桜本法規制作所のディレクターの柘畑彩と申します。私は美術大学1年生の時に、チェコアニメを見て、アナログ手法で作られるアニメーションにとても、興味を抱きました。作品の題材は私が主に、小さい頃遊びに行っていた、土地の出来事が主です。
Hey, Johnny! I heard you're a big fan.
Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy! I heard you're a big fan, so I want to invite you to come to sunny Hollywood to spend the day with me.
Today is opening of Nofi Festival in Yerevan, and our guest is head of jury, actor and producer Ken Davidian.
Well, I'm excited, just like I was in Los Angeles, because There's a lot of people like the students and the non-professionals that have submitted, what is it, over 300 films that they've given to us to watch. And I think it's very exciting because it's the first entry for people that are just starting out in this field.
Well, I thought we were friends.
We are. You want a beer?
No, I'm not an alcoholic.
Come on in.
What the fuck? You didn't say anything about two dudes.
It's not two dudes, it's just 1.5.